All right, here we are to talk about proportions. And a proportion is a type of ratio that states that two ratios are equivalent. So remember, a ratio in fraction form is just A over B. So if the proportion says that two ratios are equivalent, that would be the same as saying that A over B equals C over D. In other words, all right, what the proportion says, whatever things are being compared, all right, that they are increasing or decreasing at the same rate. So let's say that we had a class of 25 students. All right. 5 earned A's. So let's compare that to a class of 50 students. And we would want to know how many here earned, oops, I forgot to put the A there, earned an A. So it's always important to label your ratios. That's why we keep our numbers in the correct place if we have our labels. So the two things we are comparing are students and A's. So in the first class we had 25 students who earned 5 A's. In the second class we had 50 students, and if it's proportional we can replace that with n to figure out how many students that would be. Now, since it's a proportion, could I put A over students and still get the answer correct? Yes. You can write this either way as long as you get your numbers in the right place. So in this particular format, my A's are the numerator, so this would be 5 over 25, and my students is in the denominator, so this would be n over 50. And to find n, we're going to write an algebraic equation using our cross products. So what we're going to have here is 25n equals 5 times 50, and that would be 25n equals 250. And to get n alone, we're going to divide both sides by 25. So 250 divided by 25. So n would be equal to 10 students who earned A's. And if you'll notice down here, we end up with the same cross products. We still end up with 25n equals 5 times 50. So it's kind of nice when writing proportions, as long as you label your two items, you should get your numbers in the correct place. Now, often we are given problems where it wants to know if the ratios are proportional. So let's look at some of those examples. If we had the ratio 3/5 equals 12 over 20, there are a number of ways we can look at it, but we know one of our safe ways is, again, to use our cross products. So if I had 3 times 20, does it in fact equal 5 times 12? And if I simplify, that would be 60 equals 60. So yes, those two ratios are proportional. What about the following example? Would 5/8 be proportional to 20 over 36? Again, if we write our cross products, so 5 times 36, will it equal 8 times 20? 5 times 36 is 180, and 8 times 20 is 160. Those are not, so that set of ratios or proportion are not proportional. Okay, so you can always just create your cross products to determine whether they are proportional. Next type of question we often get is where they want us to find a missing proportion. So find the missing value. So let's say that we had a Class A, and in Class A we have 12 out of 23 students buy lunch. Make that Class A. In Class B, we have an unknown number of students out of 50 who buy lunch. So again, let's go ahead and set up our proportion. So students who buy lunch over the total number of students. So in Class A, we had 12 out of 23. In Class B here, we're looking for n, and we can put our denominator of 50. So we would do what we've just done here, set up our cross products. So 12 times 50 equals 23 times n. And 12 times 50, when we simplify, is 600 equals 23 over n. And to isolate that n by itself, we're going to divide both sides by 23. And when we divide, n comes out to 26.08 students. So we know we can't have a 0.08 student, so we would round our answer to about 26 students. All right? All right, let's try another proportion problem. Let's talk about the Penguin Pencil Factory. All right. And we know that every factory has its problems. And at this particular factory, for every 100 pencils, we have 18 that are defective. So, what we want to know, the question is then, for every 375 pencils, how many would be defective? So let's go ahead and set up our labels for our proportion. So we could set up defective over the total, or we could set total over defective. As long as you put your numbers in the corresponding label, it's fine. So I think let's go ahead and use this one, defective over total. And so we know that for every 100 pencils, we have 18 defective pencils. So the question is, how many defective pencils n would we expect if we had 375 pencils? So again, we'll set up our cross products for our equation. So 100n equals 18 times 375. And so 100n, and when we simplify 18 times 375, we get 6,750. So we're going to divide both sides by 100 now. And n would be equal to 67.5. So we would round our answer to about 68 pencils would be defective for a batch of 375. All right. Let's talk about purchasing vans and trucks. One day you might be buying your own automobile. So let's say for every 23 vans that are purchased, 9 trucks are purchased. Excuse me, purchased. So, if Bob's big wheel sold 100 trucks, how many vans did they sell? So the two things we are comparing are trucks and vans. So, or vans and trucks. Let's go ahead and put trucks in the numerator and vans in the denominator. So, it said for every 9 trucks sold, there were 23. And the proportion asks us, well, if they sold 100 trucks, so we know 100 goes in the numerator, and our missing value is vans. So again, if you switched it to vans over trucks, that would just be 23 over 9 equals n over 100, and you'll still get the same equation using your cross products. So we would set this up as 9n equals 23 times 100. So we know that's 9n equals 2,300. And now to isolate that variable, we're going to divide both sides by 9. And n is going to be 255.5 vans. And if you'd like to round, that would be about 256 vans would be your expectation. All right. And I just want to try one more problem. Let's talk about a typing problem. All right. We're going to say that John types 52 words in 3 minutes. So, how many minutes would it take to type 500 words? So, again, we have words or minutes over words. Let's go ahead and put words in the numerator and minutes in the denominator. So the ratio that they first gave us was that John could type 52 words in 3 minutes. So we want to know, not that we have 500 words. What we're trying to figure out is how many minutes it would take John to type 500 words. So setting up our cross products, 52n would equal 3 times 500. And 52n equals 1,500. Now if we divide both sides by 52 to isolate that variable, we're going to get that n equals 28.8 minutes. All right. To type 500 words. All right. I hope that's been helpful, and that's the short and long of a basic proportion problem. Thanks, and have a great day.